Hey there, 20-year-old me. If I could sit down with you for just a few minutes, there's a handful of life lessons I'd like to share with you. Lessons that, if I'd known them back then, could have made all the difference. So grab a seat and let's chat. Trust me, you're in for quite the ride. Alright, so that little intro aside, let's talk a little bit about what I would have liked to know when I was a little younger than I am now. So I turned 25 a month ago, and that gave me a lot of things to think about. I feel like I'm at a good point in my life, but there are definitely things that I could have done better when I was 18, 19, 20 and so on. Let's start with the first thing. I wish I would have consumed less content. When I moved out of my parents' house, I didn't really know how to manage my time. That led to me watching quite a few YouTube videos, and with quite a few I mean thousands, let's be honest. And we've all been there, I guess, when we're on this platform, but I really wish I would have consumed less, because although I thought it was a good time, YouTube took a lot out of me. I even went through an old journey entry where I experimented with consuming less and just doing kind of a digital detox without knowing what it was back then, because it was so many years ago. The thing I really loved when I read it was that I realized how much time I had when I was not constantly on YouTube, constantly playing video games, and that was an amazing thing to see. And I just wish I would have been a little bit more consequent with that, because if you have the time and you set yourself a goal of not wasting it with digital devices, start to think about what you really want to do with your time and life. And that's a good thing, and every young person should do that. The second thing that I would have loved to do less is playing video games. I played so much when I was younger, especially as a teenager. I played all the Batman games, all the racing games, all of that shit. And I just wish I would have realized sooner that playing video games won't change anything about your life. Yes, while you're playing them, it seems like you have a great time and everything, and maybe you're connecting with friends, but all of that is super shallow, and I just wish that I would have realized that sooner. I feel like I always kind of knew that, or especially when I got older, 18, 19, I noticed that gaming isn't good for me. But it took me till I was 23 and moved back to my hometown to realize, man, I don't want to waste my time in front of a screen playing video games. I'd rather work on something and build something that I really want to do. That's something that I just wish I would have realized sooner. COVID played a big role here, because before COVID I feel like I had it under control, but yeah, COVID just fucked me up regarding that. So get rid of your PlayStation, get rid of your gaming PC, you don't need it. So I'm very happy that I got rid of my PlayStations, and I just wish that when I moved out, I would have sold my PS5 or PS4 at that time. I think that would have been the best moment to do it. You just leave your teenage years behind, leave your childhood behind, and that's a very important step, I think. These two things actually lead me to the third point, which is learn how to use your time. So once you've gotten rid of watching too much entertainment on YouTube and Netflix and all that shit, and playing video games, you'll notice that you have a lot of time. So you're probably not gonna complain that you won't have enough time, but you're gonna complain about the fact that you have no idea how to fill that time productively, and in a way that you actually feel good and energized doing something. Because what I had to learn the hard way is just living into the day doesn't make you happy, and just it doesn't work if you want to be happy and successful. So creating a schedule is actually very, very freeing. And your first thought might be, I don't want to create a schedule for my free time. After all, it's free time. But just try it out for a day. You don't even have to plan your whole weekend, but just plan one of the days, like Saturday or Sunday, and live the other one as you normally do, playing video games and everything. See for yourself when you are happier. What I noticed, and what I noticed a few years ago, is when I plan my days, I usually feel happier, because I have this structure that every human needs, and that's just a great thing to have. And it took me a while to realize that, but structuring your free time is actually a very freeing thing, and then it actually becomes free time, because you think about what you want to do with your weekend instead of letting it fly by. And after a planned weekend, you're actually gonna feel like you've had a weekend, and not just this feeling of, I don't know, I just played video games 2 days and that was it, and bam, it's Monday again. So do the things you really want to do on the weekend and plan them. Because let's be honest, once you write down that you want to play 6 hours of Rocket League, you're gonna think about it, man, that's not something I want to spend so much time on. But if you're living into the day and you don't really care, you can easily spend 6-7 hours on a Saturday just playing video games. Fucking hell, man. Oh, that was so me. That brings me to the next point. Read more books. Because you have so much free time, and the habit that you can put in your free time instead of gaming and watching YouTube, like you're doing now. Gotcha. But this is a good type of YouTube, so don't worry. And this way, you're actually learning in your free time. And this is what you want to do. You want to learn in your free time. You don't want to just sit there and be like a zombie and just let things come onto you. You actually want to use your free time to make your working time better and more effective, and to actually think about the things that you want to do in your life. And the thing that I also talked about in my last video, where I talked about non-fiction reading, is that you have to change your paradigm a little bit. Because it's not the reading that changes your life. It's a start, definitely, and it's super important, but it's really the doing of what you read about. So if you read something about a good morning routine and good habits, then it's not enough to read about it and then close the book and forget about it. You actually have to do the things that you read about, because that's the stuff that's gonna change your life, and that's the stuff where it's gonna really have an impact on your life and on your behavior and on your happiness. The next thing is stop caring so much about social media. I have a concrete example here. I went to a cubing competition once. So where you solve Rubik's Cubes as fast as possible. It was the first time for me and I was really excited, but I fucked up the whole experience for me, because I was always like constantly thinking about, oh, how could I capture this and that for my Instagram, for my private Instagram. And because I wanted to show everybody that I finally did it. I'm so sad that I didn't like soak in more of the experience. I was just caring about doing a story here, a story there, and man, thinking back to that, I really regret it. Because I could have had a really nice day, and it was nice still, definitely, but I could have connected to the people there instead of just sharing things that nobody of my friends cares about anyway. And that's definitely something that I wish I would have learned sooner. I know it now. I don't have social media anymore, which is a great step for me, but that's another thing. And just don't care about it. Because the thing is, nobody cares about you, and nobody cares about the things that you post on Instagram. Just focus on the experience, be in the moment, and don't think about what other people think about you. Next thing on the list is focus on fewer things. And that's something I had to learn recently, or I am learning right now. Because last year, when I was between jobs, I just put so many things on my plate. Because I had a lot of time. And I was just looking at this and that and how I could implement it in my life. And then everything works kind of, but it's just a little bit too much, because I don't have the time for my personal projects anymore. I just have to go there, I have to go there, I have to go there. And this way you're just diversifying yourself too much. And that's not a good thing. If you want to really be successful in something, and I'm learning this myself right now, you have to focus on a few things and not like cut yourself into 7 parts and to 7 completely different roles just because you can't say no. Maybe that's the better thing for you to learn. Learn to say no, because subtraction is key. Another thing that kind of sounds weird nowadays is to sit and think. The next time you're bored, don't go on your phone. Just sit there and enjoy the boredom. It sounds so counterintuitive, but when your brain is bored, actually don't give it quick dopamine. Don't give it something to release happy feelings, but just stay there, sit there, and really feel this feeling of being bored. And that's a great thing. Actually, trust me. Maybe take it like a notepad or journal or whatever and write down your thoughts. And when you do that long enough, and often maybe every day, even just a few minutes, you'll notice that something changes in your mind, because you'll actually notice the things that you want to do. And as soon as you go on your phone, all those thoughts get pushed away. That was my wrist. So all those thoughts get pushed away and get like suppressed, and that's not what you want to do. You want to give your brain and your thoughts freedom to express, but if we're constantly consuming and consuming and consuming, we can't think. And that's something that you have to learn, especially when you're 16, 17, 18, 19. Doesn't matter. But sit there, think and write. Seriously, that's the only advice that I should give you in this video. Another very important thing is, and I wish I would have realized that sooner, is that money is important. So care about money now, so you don't have to care about money later. Money is definitely something that I do not want to be a concern in my life, and that's why I have to put in the work now, and should have put in the work way earlier, but that's okay. I'm working on it, just to get to the position where I don't have to worry about money anymore. So if you're 17, 18, 19 and you have that feeling where I don't care about money, I just want to do what I love, think about money too, and find a way that you can get enough money, and a lot of money preferably, so you can actually just do the things that you want to do. So the next point is put on some muscle and do a lot of sports. I've always been a person who did lots of sports, especially basketball, but I never really cared about putting on too much muscle, or I always thought that I couldn't really do it for some reason, being a hard gainer or whatever. It's really worth it putting some effort into that. Not just the training aspect, but also the eating aspects. Because if you want to put on muscle, you have to eat a lot. So before I really started, like 2 years ago maybe, I was weighing 10 kilos less. And I still think that I have a lot to gain, basically, and a lot of potential. But I just feel way more confident in my body, and I also just feel better showing my body, I guess, and that's a very important thing for health and relationships. I just wish I would have realized that sooner, that it was just a mindset shift. Never go into something and tell yourself that you can't do it anyway, because that can really mess with your head. So put on some muscle, make sure that you're in great shape and feel good. That will lead to a better life, better mental clarity, and just better feelings and better chances, let's be honest here. One of the things that I read super early, but I never really understood or never wanted to implement in my life, is to be proactive. I think the second self-help book that I read was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, like so many people before me have read. And I think Law 1 or whatever, Habit 1, is to be proactive. And I remember myself reading it and being like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then putting the book down, and what I said before, just putting it into the shelf. And I didn't live it. I was like, yeah, I get this, makes sense, cool. But in the situation I was back then, I didn't really want to be proactive because I didn't love the job that I did, or the apprenticeship that I did. So yeah, but what I failed to realize is that I could still be proactive in all the other areas of my life. So definitely be proactive, take your life in your hand, otherwise you're just a puppet in the games of social media corporations. Let's be real here. We deserve the outcomes of our own actions. So if you want good things to happen to you in the future, act in the appropriate way now. Okay, second to last point is control your phone, and don't get controlled by it. Really use the phone as the tool that it is, and don't become the tool, and don't become this little pawn in the game of the social media corporations. So really learn to gain control over your free time and your phone. That's a huge thing. And the last thing that I personally wish I would have done way earlier is to start my YouTube channel. It's something that I thought about so many times over the last few years, but I never knew what I wanted to talk about. And now that I've been doing it for over a month, I just noticed that you'll find things to talk about. And maybe I wouldn't have had that much to talk about when I was younger, but I'm very sure that I would have found things to talk about, maybe even provided some value. And I would have loved to look back now on my 18-year-old self to see the steps that I took back then. And that's something that I kind of regret not doing it, but at least I journaled, so that's a good thing. So I kind of have this weight of looking back into the future. And yeah, so that's my last point. Definitely start a YouTube channel. If you've ever thought about it, just do it. And if not, at least create a journal and write down the things that happened to you and that you think, because it's a very interesting thing to look back at it when you're a little older, and maybe even at some point give to your kids and grandkids. That would be it for me. Check out my channel, check out another video of mine, and we'll see each other in the next one. Bye.